In a small elementary school outside Osaka, a 7-year-old drops her lunch tray. Rice everywhere, soup soaking into her uniform. Every child in the room goes quiet. She doesn't cry. She doesn't look to her teacher. She kneels down, picks up every grain of rice, wipes the floor clean, and sits back down. Lunch continues. No one said a word. If you showed that scene to most Western parents, they'd assume the child was afraid of punishment, afraid of judgment. But that's not what's happening. That little girl wasn't suppressing her emotions. She was expressing something far more powerful than composure. She was expressing Gaman. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly what Gaman is, why Japanese children develop it naturally, and the one simple shift that allows any parent in any culture to begin building it at home, starting tonight. Here's what most parenting advice completely misses. We spend enormous energy trying to fix complaints. We validate them. We negotiate around them. We offer solutions before the child even finishes the sentence. And we do it out of love. But here's what the research says we're actually doing. We're training the complaint. Every time a child complains and receives an immediate response, the brain logs a simple equation: discomfort plus complaint equals relief. And the brain, being extraordinarily efficient, will repeat whatever worked. This isn't a character flaw, it's neuroscience. And Japanese parents figured this out long before any laboratory confirmed it. The word is Gaman, written with 2 characters meaning self and endure. But don't let the word endure mislead you. This isn't about suffering in silence. It isn't about suppressing emotion or pretending pain doesn't exist. Gaman is something far more nuanced. It is the practiced ability to hold difficulty with dignity, to sit inside discomfort without immediately reaching for an exit. Developmental psychologists call this distress tolerance, and research from the University of Rochester shows that children with high distress tolerance perform significantly better academically, resolve conflicts more effectively, and report higher life satisfaction into adulthood. Not because their lives are harder, because their relationship with difficulty is fundamentally different. So how did Japanese parents build this? It starts with something they don't do. They don't rush. When a Japanese child stumbles, the parent watches. When a child struggles with a task, the parent waits. When a child is frustrated, the parent resists the instinct to intervene. This is the practice of mimamoru, watch and protect without rescuing. And inside that space of not rescuing, something extraordinary happens. The child discovers that discomfort is survivable. That is the first lesson of Gaman. Not that difficulty doesn't hurt, but that you are larger than the hurt. And once a child learns that at 5 years old, falling behind at school or losing a game or being left out by a friend doesn't become a crisis. It becomes something they already know how to carry. But Gaman isn't taught through silence alone. The second pillar is something Japanese parents model constantly, every single day, without ever naming it. It's called ninki, perseverance through ordinary life. Not dramatic sacrifice, not heroic struggle, just the quiet daily practice of doing hard things without announcing that they are hard. A Japanese mother who is tired still makes breakfast. A Japanese father who had a difficult day still shows up at the dinner table present and calm. not performing happiness, not pretending nothing happened, but demonstrating through their own body, their own behavior, that discomfort doesn't demand an audience. Children are watching all of it. Harvard researchers studying emotional modeling found that children's emotional regulation patterns mirror their primary caregivers' patterns with striking precision by age 4. Not because they're told to behave a certain way, because the nervous system literally learns by watching. The most powerful parenting tool in the world isn't a technique, it's your own daily example. Now, here's the part that surprises people most. Gaman is not about raising a stoic child. Japanese culture is extraordinarily emotionally rich. There's deep feeling in Japanese life. What Gaman teaches is not the absence of emotion, it's the absence of urgency around emotion. The understanding that a feeling can be felt fully without immediately demanding to be fixed. This distinction changes everything because the goal was never to raise a child who doesn't feel. It was always to raise a child who feels without falling apart. And here is where the practical work begins. You don't need to move to Japan. You don't need to restructure your entire parenting approach. Gaman can be introduced through one small, repeatable practice that researchers call the pause and name method. The next time your child complains, do not respond immediately. Count silently to 5. Then, instead of offering a solution, ask one question. What do you think you could do about that? Not dismissively, not coldly, with genuine curiosity. You are not abandoning them, you are handing them the first tool of Gaman, the belief that they are capable of sitting with difficulty long enough to find their own way through it. Do this consistently for 3 weeks. The complaints don't disappear, they transform. They become shorter, then quieter, then sometimes they don't come at all, because the child has already begun answering their own question before bringing it to you. That is Gaman working. Gaman, Mimamoru, Ninki, distress tolerance, patient watching, quiet modeling, 3 layers of the same ancient understanding that a child who learns to hold difficulty with dignity will move through life with something no achievement, no reward, no amount of praise can ever give them. They will move through life unafraid of being uncomfortable. And in a world that sells comfort at every corner, that quiet inner strength may be the most valuable thing a parent can ever build. If this shifted the way you see your child's complaints, share it with one parent who needs to hear it, and subscribe because there's a lot more coming.